Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Got a right blast from the past here to look at. Who remembers this? The CASIO PT-80 electronic musical instrument. Basically it's an electronic keyboard. It has 8 presets for tones and 16 built-in rhythms. It will also accept these ROM cartridges to have 4 built-in songs. There's quite a number of these made back in the day. So you can follow along with the LED lights there across the keyboard and try and play along with it. This is part of their petite range due to the size of the keys. It has 32 keys, and this model here came out in 1984. Sadly my example here is not working, not even off the DC input there, and the battery compartment is severely corroded. One of the terminals looks pretty bad. So in today's video we're going to be taking this apart and having a look inside and see if we can bring this classic 80s keyboard back to life. So for that and more, stay tuned and I'll see you right after this. Before we take this apart, let's have a quick look at this ROM pack. The model I have here is RO551 World Songs, which was bundled with a lot of these back in the day. Interesting how it works actually. On the back of the cartridge is a little rubber strip. This is exactly the same technology we'd find in a digital watch or a calculator screen that allows it to connect to the PCB. These cartridges were read-only memory, so you couldn't record anything to them, and I suspect the storage capacity was only 1K. Okay, let's get this thing open. There was a total of 9 screws for this in the end. Just at the back there's a little area for tuning adjustment. 9 screw removals later and we're finally in. The first glimpse there at the back. And here we are, we're in. And unfortunately things were worse than I feared. The corrosion of this is quite severe. It looks like the keyboard must have been left on its front in storage for quite a number of years. So the battery acid has leaked through the compartment, down the cables, onto the PCB. 2 of the cables at either end have actually already broken off. One of the battery terminals was actually attached to like a mat on the back of the keyboard casing. Turns out later on this is actually a piece of cardboard covered in foil on the opposite side, similar to what they put in the Commodore 64s to reduce interference. There are 2 PCBs in this setup. This one here needs to come off next in order to see what's going on underneath. There's actually a ribbon cable attaching the top PCB to the bottom one and it's soldered in place, so I have to be careful here at this point I don't break any connections. Going forward I decided to remove these speaker wires so I could get the PCB open. And here we are, we're in. That top board there is the amplification board and power supply, and the bottom one houses the chip and all of the keys. As you can see there's a screw there that's really badly corroded, so it looks like some of that battery acid has unfortunately leaked down to the bottom board. I guess I was hoping this was going to be a quick fix. Even those capacitors there have some corrosion and creeping up towards them, and for once it's actually not coming out the capacitor itself. I guess the first thing to do is address that DC input area there, give that a good clean up and see how bad the damage is. I'm going to use some distilled white vinegar on this to help neutralise the battery acid. You can just see it here sizzling up slightly, but not as much as I thought actually. But now I think about it, this battery acid has probably been on here for 20 years. It's probably become neutral anyway. Once I was done with the white vinegar, I used some IPA to clean the board. At first glance looking at this board there, as you can see, it looks like we're actually down to the brown PCB. But I'm pleased to say, after some probing around and really digging the probes in to get past that corrosion, there are some traces there thankfully. I thought I was going to end up having to rebuild the PCB itself. Not that would have been hard to do because the traces on this are so big. So next up I end up removing the DC socket because it's actually got lots of rust inside of it and on the outside as well. Next thing to do now is to put the speaker wires back on and find out which is the ground and which is the positive and apply some power to this keyboard and see if there's any life in it. Okay, first power up, hopefully, fingers crossed. Let's see. Blimey. That made me jump, that did. Right, it seems to be working. Play. I did not realise at the time that the rhythm had started auto-playing on its own, which it's not supposed to do. See, there's LEDs flashing. I don't think things are quite right though. Shouldn't all sound the same, should it? Oh no, it's working. Wow, this brings back some memories. Wow, the memories. So ROM is these three here. Wow. God. Simpler times. So I guess you were supposed to follow it along, yeah. Got a key not working there. So yes, all was not well unfortunately. Along with some of the keys not working, also some of the built-in rhythms were not working either, along with some of the tones. So it was time to now look at the other board underneath to see if there is actually any corrosion. And that's the main chip there, NEC D1868G, made in Japan. You can see just how badly that screw's corroded. After my attempts at cleaning this, it still wouldn't budge, so I ended up using a pair of pliers and carefully turning it. But it was that badly gone, the head just broke off. Okay, so I got the other PCB out eventually, I had a look at the other side, and unfortunately it turns out there is some corrosion on some of the traces on this board. So I added that blue wire there to bridge the gap where the trace was broken. Even the rubber membrane had been contaminated with battery acid unfortunately, along with the pads underneath. So these were also going to need a very good clean. And now we've given those button areas a good clean, it's time to clean out that case and then tackle that battery compartment. Dead bug. Now it was time to replace that DC jack. Unfortunately nothing I had would fit. The pin layout was slightly different, but I did have one of these barrel types here with a nut on, so I decided to go down that route instead. Next up was time to tackle that battery compartment. After giving it a very good clean, it still looked a little bit grotty, but it was a lot better than it was. Then I had to replace one of the battery terminals, because no matter how much I cleaned it, I couldn't get the cable to solder to it, because it was just too far gone. So I made up a new one out of an old battery casing from something else. When I looked at the cables from the battery box, one of them was corroded all the way through, it actually turned black, so I also replaced this. And here it is all back together. And I'm pleased to say it's working off both battery and mains. And unfortunately, some of the rhythms are not working. I suspect the contacts probably could do with some of that paint you can get to rejuvenate them. But a lot of the others do work okay. I think it's just 2 or 3 that aren't working. And the tempo works. These keys are all working okay, along with all these. And also the ROM cartridge is working. So all in all, a bit of success there really. I wasn't sure if we'd get this working because the corrosion seemed quite bad. Paid about £20 for this all in posted, which I didn't think was too bad. You can pay a lot more, and there are examples out there in their original boxes with extra ROM cartridges. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching that with me. As always, thanks for watching, and until the next video, I'll be seeing you. And if you did enjoy watching this video, you may want to take a look at some of my other videos on similar themes. I'm always buying something on eBay, some more piece of technology, and trying to repair it. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Thanks for watching.